Hello, my people. Hello, my people. Once again, it's Emerson. Listen, we're not going to waste a lot of time. We're going to get right into it. But first, I'd like you guys to go ahead and smash the subscribe button, smash that like button, smash the comment button, and leave a little something. All right? Break me off something, positive. All right? Something that I can use and say, well, you know what? Maybe you're right. Or maybe I don't know if I agree with that, and I'll get back at you. All right? Today, we're going to talk about whether or not LeBron James or Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Who do you pick? I rock with Mike. I rock with Mike because I've been watching basketball for over 30 years now. Mike, Kobe, Magic, Bird, those guys are my favorite of the era back then. Today I like Steph Curry, KD for sure, Klay Thompson, Giannis. I respect what Giannis did in the playoffs. That boy plays some ball. But right now we're going to focus on LeBron versus Michael versus LeBron. While I respect everything that LeBron does on the court, I have even more respect for him for what he does off the court. I'm talking about encouraging other basketball players to branch out, spread their wings. A lot of them have production companies due in part just because of the motivation that LeBron James has provided. He speaks on social issues. Okay, he built a school in his hometown. I got respect for that. But most importantly, to be honest with you, I respect the fact that he's never really in any controversy. His family comes first. I can relate to that because that's how I feel about my family. You feel me? I do what I can as long as I can, and I won't do it no more after that. But that'd be God talking. All right. But anyway, let's get back to LeBron versus Mike. Let me tell you, Mike is my dude because I like the way he plays. All right. LeBron is my dude because as I just said, I respect what he does off the court. On the court, it's like Ali Frazier. They were both great, but I preferred Ali. LeBron and Mike, both great, but I prefer Mike. Okay, but now we're talking about the GOAT. We ain't really talking about my preference. I don't really believe. I believe we're talking about who's the GOAT. Now, when you really look at it, LeBron James averages for his career 27 points, 7.4 rebounds, 7.4 assists. Okay, he does all of that while getting 1.6 steals. Okay, he shoots 73% from the free throw line, 50% from the field. Those are Hall of Fame numbers. I don't care who you are. Those are Hall of Fame numbers. So there's no doubt there. No disrespect there. But now we got to go to Michael. Michael averaged 30 points a game. 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals a game. Okay, so, and he shot 83% from the line. That's the free throw line. So these guys are both great. They're both great. There's no denying that on either part. I just like the way Mike did it. LeBron went to the final 10 times. He's got 4 rings and 6 losses. Now, 4 rings is nothing to sneeze about because and on his way to those 4 rings, he's got 4 Finals MVP. So again, we're talking Hall of Fame numbers here, guaranteed first ballot. First ballot. But as I said, there are levels to this. There's levels. This ain't no one level. Because if you look at it, everybody in the Hall of Fame, does anybody in the Hall of Fame think that, certain players, I'm not going to name any players because they made it to the Hall of Fame, so they're better than I will ever be. But that certain players are all equal in the Hall of Fame, that would be ridiculous. So there are levels to this. Give you an example. Michael Jordan went 6-0 in the finals. He's got 6 Finals MVP. Need I say more? 6. That's 2 three-peats, by the way. We're not talking about 1 here, 2 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. No. We're talking 2 three-peats. Okay? So when I look at all of that, everything is kind of favoring Mike. It's kind of favoring Mike. That's the way I see it. Okay? Another thing that resonates with me, again, while people are just looking at the stats and looking at championships, for me, it's more to it than that. I look at the eye test. I call it the eye test. I look at how you react when people go at you, when people come for you. Okay? I'm going to talk about Mike. Mike retired after winning his first three-peat. Did I say that right? His first three-peat, which would indicate that he had another one. But we'll get into that a little later. His first three-peat, he retired after his dad died and, was killed, and he was messed up emotionally, so he felt the need to retire and try to do something else. Okay, fine. He comes back with 17 games left in the 95 season. 1995 NBA season. Okay. He's in the playoffs. He gets the ball after a turnover by Orlando Magic. Nick Anderson comes up from behind and strips Michael of the ball. Michael dives and he couldn't get the ball, and they out of the playoffs. Everybody said Mike has lost a step. Quite frankly, Mike was my favorite player. I was heartbroken. Even though I'm from New York, living in New York at the time, I was heartbroken because Michael, I knew I was watching greatness. Just as I had seen with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and Julius Erving and Charles Barkley. I've seen all of this stuff. I know when there's great players. He was a great one. In my opinion, greatest of all time. I watched how he looked when he walked off the floor. I watched that. I watched it. What did he do? He didn't cry about it. He went back to the lab. He realized that he has a baseball body trying to play basketball. And so all summer long, he worked on his game. He worked on his game. He comes back along with Scottie Pippen and the other Chicago Bulls, and they compile a then record 72-10 on the way to the beginning of another three-peat. Now, I left a little part out, so let me back up for a minute. You came at Mike, meaning Nick Anderson of the Orlando Magic. And just so you guys know, Orlando Magic wasn't a slouch. I don't care how they look now. But they had DJ, they had, what's his name? The big guy, the three-point shooter. Okay? They had Nick Anderson. They had, Shaq was there. Penny Hardaway was there. They were not slouches. Okay? They were not. Okay? They can play. They were there for a reason. You know when you drop something on the floor and you know, it might be little dust or broken glass or whatever, stuff that'll cut you. What do you reach for? You reach for the broom so you can sweep them. That is what Michael Jordan did along with Scottie Pippen and the rest of the Bulls. After they came for him and got him up out of there, because they wanted to face Mike. They got Mike, and they got Mike that time. He didn't cry about it. He didn't make no excuses. He did what he had to do in history-making fashion. That resonated with me. Because life is going to knock all of us down, but his was in public, on national TV. Sometimes you and I get a bad day, we don't even want to go to work. At certain times, we've all had thoughts of giving up at something at some given time. Notice I said thoughts. We don't always do it, but we have that fleeting thought. I'm sure Mike did too. But he did what champions do. Champions realize that you get knocked down sometimes and you get back up. And you come up and you prepare and you fight harder than ever. Now when I say fight, not literally, figuratively. So again, it's part of life. So what he did what I want to see if I'm watching basketball. Let's go to LeBron. LeBron had two things that happened that kind of, in my mind, took him out of the GOAT conversation. It's not just the losses. Okay, that's not it. I look at how should I say? I'm going to say it point blank. I look at how KD got the ball, looked at him, and pulled the jumper in his eyes in 2017 in Game 3. I didn't see LeBron. I didn't see what I saw in Mike. Hell, I didn't see what I saw in Kobe when they were talking about Tracy McGrady or Vince Carter might be better than Kobe. They did that in 2006 and 7, and what happened? But again, we'll talk about that another day. Let's go back to LeBron. Game 3. I didn't see LeBron come back and respond the way I want a person that's being considered as a GOAT to respond. I didn't see that. Okay? Fast forward to 2018. There was a play in the game, crucial play, in the game again, Game 3. LeBron was covering KD initially. Rodney Hood was covering Steph Curry. Steph Curry came up to set a little weak pick. LeBron nudged for Rodney Hood to take over. He wanted no part of Durant. Now, Durant getting him last year, meaning the previous year, 2017, anybody can get got. I know that. But now in the same scenario, Game 3, same scenario, and you're going to basically nudge or don't even fight over the screen so that you can stay with Durant to try to shut him down. I'll make sure and leave a link to the video that's available in the description. Okay? When I saw what he did then, I'm sorry. I don't care if you turn around and win 2 more championships and your record is 6-6. I can't shake what I just saw. I can't shake that. Because for me, it's not just about stats. Because if it was just about stats, Mike wouldn't even be the GOAT. It would be Bill Russell if it's just about championships. But it's not. Everything is a part of it. Okay? Do I think LeBron is a great player? No. I know he's a great player. But there's levels to this. There's levels to this. LeBron did a few other things that when Steph Curry along with, after Durant went over there to Golden State, LeBron started saying, well, I need a playmaker. So you're the only one that could have a super team. You're the only one that could do that. Because when you did it in Miami, it was okay. It was okay. All right. Well, you did it in Miami, and what happened? Dirk and them boys beat you. Okay. And you went on to beat San Antonio. And what did San Antonio do after you beat them? There's a time you beat the San Antonio Spurs. What happened? They basically said in preseason, I repeat, in preseason, the year after you beat them, they said, we want to go through the Miami Heat. Of course, you were a member of the Miami Heat then. So basically, they called you out. They basically called you out. Because they felt that your championship was bogus. It was a luck. It was a mistake by Popovich for taking, what's his name out? Tim Duncan out. Okay? Bottom line is, all I see, somebody call you out and I'm seeing you not responding. How you going to be the GOAT? Come on now. Come on now. We saw what happened when everybody was talking about Clyde Drexler might be better than Michael Jordan. We saw what happened. They went 6 games, but Mike averaged some ridiculously high number in winning one of his Finals MVP. You see, you don't pull the tail of the GOAT. I can't consider you the GOAT. I can't consider you the GOAT. Now I'm gonna go somewhere else with this. I count 9 either Hall of Famers or possible Hall of Famers. Not possible. Forget possible. 9 Hall of Famers or probable Hall of Famers. So in other words, for you to enter already, and I estimate that these people are going, I'll even try to name them for you. I'll try to name them. Let's go with Ray Allen, Dwayne Wade, okay, Chris Bosh. Now, Ray Allen and Chris Bosh are already in the Hall of Fame. I think we pretty much would agree Dwayne Wade is going to the Hall of Fame. That's 3 right there. We already got 3. So now, let's go to Cleveland. Kyrie Irving. I'm not even going to say Kevin Love because a lot of you guys not paid attention to what Kevin Love did in with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I'll just put him on the side burner for now. Right now, we at the count of 4. Okay? So we're going to go Russell Westbrook on his current team. No, you know what? I can't even do that. So it might not even be 9 because Russell Westbrook wasn't on the team last year. Dwight Howard was. Okay, so we already have 5 Hall of Famers that he played with. 5. Okay, if he wins now, which would only be his 5th title. But again, I said earlier, when we're dealing with if, we're not dealing with what is. So let's say 5 for sure. Okay, my bad. Rondo will be going to the Hall of Fame. See that already? How it got to 6 already? It's at 6. And remember, Kevin Love is still on the burner. He's still on the back burner. But anyway, we have 6 Hall of Famers, or people that we know are going to the Hall of Fame, that he has played with. Okay? Let's look at Mike. How many Hall of Famers did he play with? I'll wait. I can't hear you. Okay, I'll answer for you since you seem to be at a loss for words. Michael Jordan, number 23, the original number 23, played with a grand total in the championship winning years of 2 Hall of Famers. That's all he played with. Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. That is it. And remember, I said earlier, everybody in the gym knows that the plays are going to run through Michael Jordan. It's going to run through Michael Jordan. It's just that simple. Now, some people say, well, Michael Jordan wasn't as great a setup guy as LeBron James. True. You know, I can't. What am I going to argue with that for? But look at who LeBron's passing the ball to. He's passing the Hall of Famers. Steve Kerr was good. Before him, B.J. Armstrong, John Paxson were good. They're not in the Hall of Fame. It's for a reason. It's just for a reason. It's obvious. Bad comparison. Bad. So when you really take a moment to look at it, Michael Jordan did more with less. Michael Jordan didn't go out and recruit Dennis Rodman. He didn't. They had to beg Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen to get along with him to get him on the team. And what did they do? They did another 3-peat. So when you really look at it, with the amount of people that and influence that LeBron has, I just would think that he would have more rings. I'm surprised that people are even having this discussion. I'll give you an example why I say that. LeBron is oftentimes looked at as some kind of guy that doesn't get hurt. Doesn't get hurt. He's like an Iron Man. He's durable. If that's the case, why did he only play in 82 games 1 time? Yeah, he just played 1 time. Michael Jordan, I believe, I'm quite sure he did that 9 times. There are levels to this. It's not always the stats. It's everything combined. Everything combined. It's not just one thing. So when you consider championships, durability, finals MVPs, all-stars, for the years that he played, Mike got him beat. And it's really not close. I would tell you this. For you people who think that LeBron James is the GOAT. I'll give you some stats and I'll leave you with these. Michael Jordan is the GOAT, period. But I'm going to give you some stats. Okay? Matter of fact, I'm going to give you the stats of one player who played the same position. Because some people will say, well, Michael Jordan's a shooting guard and LeBron James a small forward or a point forward or a point guard, whatever you want to call him. Whatever. Larry Bird, small forward, averaged 24 points for his career. A little over 24. I believe it's 24.3. 10 rebounds. 6 assists. Okay. LeBron, his numbers are basically the same as Larry Bird's. The only thing is, I don't hear anybody saying Larry Bird is even considered to be among the GOATs. So then, why is LeBron James? You know why? Because he's the here and now. So you gotta go back and look at the numbers. All of you people that like to go to YouTube, one word I want you to get out of your vocabulary. It's called highlights. Don't go looking at the highlights and figuring that you've seen the game. Go watch the entire game. Go watch the game. And before you watch the game, see if you can pull up an old news clipping, because we didn't have video back then. We didn't have YouTube and all that stuff. Go read what was being said and what the era was like. Go do that. Then you can talk to me about somebody possibly being the GOAT. If LeBron is the GOAT, I'm wondering why so many people got rings on his watch. It's kind of strange, isn't it? Dirk got a ring on LeBron's watch. Parker, Ginobili, Tim Duncan all got rings on LeBron's watch. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant all got rings on his watch. Okay? And these guys are they're all great players, don't get me wrong. But let's look at the list. The names that don't have rings because of Mike. Reggie Miller. A lot of you guys might be too young to remember that Rick Smits played with Reggie Miller. No ring. John Stockton, Malone, Hall of Famers. No rings. Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley. No rings. Shawn Kemp. No ring. Gary Payton has a ring when he went to play with Shaq, and Dwayne Wade got a ring over there. Clyde Drexler would have no ring if he didn't go with Olajuwon when Jordan wasn't playing. You see how many people didn't get rings? And it's a lot more. Yet these players, those players that I just mentioned, the one thing they have in common, with the exception of Shawn Kemp and maybe Rick Smits, everybody's in the Hall of Fame. They put up Hall of Fame numbers. So when you start talking about the GOAT, how about this? LeBron, as far as the GOAT is concerned, see Larry Bird. Because while you average 7 assists, he averaged 6. Guess who handled the ball more? Both of you guys were listed as small forward. One of you guys had a point guard, and one of you guys was the point guard. So how does he average 1 less assist than you, and he had a point guard? He had Dennis Johnson. Another Hall of Famer, by the way. So that means that Larry Bird was not controlling the ball. Otherwise, Dennis Johnson wouldn't be a Hall of Famer. See how that works? You see how that works? So when we start talking about the GOAT, understand that there's levels to this. Now, everybody says LeBron is a physical specimen. He's the best, strongest, the fastest, and can jump the highest. Okay, well, Charles Barkley said about LeBron something that he would never say about Michael Jordan. LeBron doesn't want to compete. Well, at first it's like you figure Charles Barkley just said that for headlines. No, he didn't say that for headlines. He didn't say that for headlines. Most guards and point guards of that stature that LeBron came in at, and he earned his way, worked his way up, they competed in the dunk contest. We see what he does in games. But he doesn't want the competition. That's why when KD, as I mentioned before, pulled that jumper in his eyes, that's when he all of a sudden he had to get Anthony Davis. He had to get help. LeBron has traded away his teammates, 5 or 6 of his teammates in 3 years. He did it 3 times. 3 times. Who does that? He does it. And some people, oh, well, that's the GM. Listen, you don't really think that the GM is doing what LeBron wants them to do? Come on now. Come on, man. Come on. Now, I give him credit for working his way up and having that kind of power. But see, when you have that kind of power, if it works, you get the credit. If it doesn't, what happens? You gotta take the blame. You have to take the blame. But let's go back to where I said the general consensus is that LeBron is the fastest. LeBron is the strongest. Okay? You're playing the small forward position most of your career. You weigh 260, you can jump out the gym. How does a player that is 6'3", 200 pounds, break a record that stood for 41, I believe 42 years? How does he get a triple? How does he average a triple-double and you don't? My bad. How does he average a triple-double 4 years out of 5? And you don't even come close to it. You know what it's called? It's called effort. Michael Jordan playing in 82 games is called effort. All of you guys get banged up from what I hear. So then the next level is effort. Do you want it? Okay? You played 82 games 1 time. There is a problem with that when you want to start talking about being the GOAT. Now, when you said you were the GOAT, you were on your show, and you said, and I quote, yeah, after all these years, and we ain't win no championship, and I was able to win that championship for them, man, that right there, that made me the GOAT. Well, I'll be the first to acknowledge your greatness, particularly in that series. Particularly in that series, you averaged a triple-double. I got to give you your props. But for you to sit there and say that made you the GOAT, when you had the ball in your hand, and you gave it to Kyrie, and Kyrie was able to get Klay Thompson off of him by calling for a pick or a screen or whatever. And so 6'3", Steph Curry was on Kyrie instead of 6'7", Klay Thompson. While you deserve all the accolades that you get, let's not be ridiculous here. Why didn't you say, me and Kyrie did our thing? Why didn't you say that? And first of all, I never heard Michael Jordan say he was the GOAT. I never heard Kobe say he was the GOAT. And in my eyes, I've said it many times, I don't think you caught Kobe yet. I really don't. I just don't. And by the way, let me go back to Larry Bird. Larry Bird went to the NBA championship 5 times. Came out with 3 rings. And yet his stats are right up there with yours, and he played less years. We got to think about all of that. You have to think about all that before you open your mouth and say you're the GOAT, because you're not. You're really not. Now, if you want to say the GOAT off the court, I got news for you, bro. I'm leaning towards giving you or Muhammad Ali that vote. I'm dead serious. But when you're talking about on the court, your accomplishments or lack thereof, that kind of sways me. Like I said, you're begging and crying for all of these guys that's going to the Hall of Fame. Listen, how am I going to look at you and say that you're the GOAT when you got Hall of Famers helping you? And even then, sometimes, like, I don't believe you're going to get it done this year. I said that the other night on the other video that I put up, which I was wrong. I got to acknowledge that I was wrong when I said that the Knicks would go into Milwaukee and beat. Listen, I'm human. That's why we have this discussion. But I was right about your team. I was right. And I might just be right now. I'm serious. I might just be right. Who knows? But again, once again, do me a favor. You've heard what I had to say. Like I said, this is not a knock on LeBron's accomplishments. It is not to make Michael Jordan seem like he's some type of god or something. He is not. He's only one god, and he doesn't play basketball. Okay? So, the way I see it, as I said before, I'm going to say it again, there are levels to this. There are levels. And like I said, if anytime LeBron James want to feel like he's the GOAT, take a look at Larry Bird's stats and understand that he did not handle the ball nearly as much as you do. Nowhere near it. As I said, he had a point guard that ended up in the Hall of Fame. Point guards on, and he wasn't a three-point shooter. So that means he was getting assists. He was doing his thing. He's in the Hall of Fame. Other than Kyrie, who you did not acknowledge, what other starting point guard played with you and ended up in the Hall of Fame? Think about that. Everybody said, well, LeBron makes everybody better. Well, listen, I got to disagree with that. All of the guys that played with Michael Jordan went above and beyond what they usually do and what they did after he left. Let that sink in. You want to talk about making people better? It's not just, it doesn't translate just to assists. Okay? I think Russell Westbrook make people better. Ask Victor Oladipo. Ask Paul George. Okay? Ask them. Okay? So, I'm not saying that LeBron makes people worse, but I'm saying don't live off of that thing. You can't live off of that thing. I mean, you can do that with people that don't know basketball, but you can't live off of that thing. Oh, well, LeBron makes people better. I don't want to hear that garbage. I don't want to hear that. Mike made people better either. Do you even know who Randy Brown is? What about Ron Harper? How was his career going before he got with Michael Jordan? Steve Kerr, does anybody know who he is if it wasn't for Michael Jordan? Really? Did you know that he played with the Cleveland Cavaliers before he played with Jordan and them? No. Okay, these guys were journeymen. But see, you don't know that because some of you don't know your history. You don't know that because you don't know your history. You really think that LeBron James made Ray Allen? I got news for you. Ray Allen was carrying the Milwaukee Bucks, and then he went over to the Seattle Supersonics. He ain't do nothing for him. He ain't do nothing. Dwayne Wade was already doing his thing. If you look back in your history, which is why Chris Bosh is in the Hall of Fame, look at what he did at Toronto. You really think that he made people better? Stop that nonsense. Stop that. Look at the rosters. If you want to have a decent debate, look at the rosters before you open your mouth. Don't just go for the here and now. Because the arguments that a lot of people are making for LeBron James, it doesn't stand. It doesn't make sense. And he knows it. I don't want to hear about super teams, though. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant. Listen, who started this nonsense? The players. What player started it? We know the GMs were doing it because you had KG, you had Ray Allen, you had Paul Pierce. I get it. But what player started this? I'll wait. That would be LeBron. That would be LeBron. Okay, so don't tell me that he made people better because he didn't. These people were already established. Kyrie, he didn't make Kyrie better. How did he make Kyrie better? He didn't. He didn't make Kyrie better. Kyrie was already established. You saw what he did in Cleveland before he got there. Now, don't get me wrong, he wasn't a championship player, but the one thing he could do is score. That's what he did. That's what he did. People sleep. Yes, as I said earlier, LeBron James averaged a triple-double in the finals that he won with Cleveland. But nobody talks about the fact that Kyrie averaged 26 or 27 points in that series. In the series. So, when you really think about it, man, you got to be real. You can't say that he made players better. Okay? Because if he made players better, he wouldn't be swapping them out all the time. He'd be working with what he have and making them better. But he's not doing that. Okay? Look at the people that Mike played with. Does anybody know Judd Bushler? You know, Bill Winnington? You know, Bill Cartwright? Does anybody even know these guys? Come on, man. What type of careers did they have before Michael? What kind of careers did they have after Michael? Really? By the way, where is B.J. Armstrong right now? He's a players agent, an agent for the players. Got his own company. He's doing his thing. Okay. Now the one thing that I will give LeBron credit for, as I mentioned earlier, I give him big time props for what he does off the court. And one of the many things that he did off the court, which I really got him a lot of respect for, is he took his homeboys that when he grew up with, all the guys that he grew up, some of the guys that he grew up with, and he said, listen, man, I got this right here. I'm going to control the basketball. And while I'm controlling the basketball, y'all guys go ahead. I'm going to finance you guys. You guys go ahead and get your certification so we can start this company. And they started Clutch Sports. So they got their own agency. They got their own agency to recruit players. I respect that. LeBron has production companies, and because he has production companies, as I mentioned earlier, he's inspired others to do the same. You got Dame, you got LeBron. I'm sorry, LeBron is obviously the head of the snake, okay? But you got Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, and a whole host of other guys that have production companies. So they're going to have an impact on some of the things that we see in the movies, some of the things that we see on TV, some of the things that we hear on radio, some of the things that we hear as far as music, Dame. Okay? So when you really stop and look at it, that is where I have the most respect for LeBron. Okay? Now, again, I'm not saying that I don't respect everything that he's accomplished on the basketball court. I'm just saying there are levels to this. There are levels to this. Quite frankly, he is not the GOAT. And if he or anyone else thinks he is, I strongly suggest you consider Larry Bird over LeBron James. Seriously. And again, I didn't even mention the eye test as it relates to Larry Bird. Okay? But again, go and look at a few games. Don't look at too many highlights, because the highlights don't show you the missed shots. And so therefore you're not getting the whole picture. Take a look at everything. And when you do that, get back to me. But in between time, listen, in between time, that's what I meant to say, but I guess I'm talking too much or whatever. Because I get hyped up when people start talking about the GOAT and they don't know what they're talking about. But anyway, I digress. Check the stats and some of the game footage, not highlights, of Larry Bird and others. Okay? You can even compare LeBron to Kobe. I'm sure LeBron's numbers would be favorable, I guess. But just keep in mind, Kobe Bryant went to the final 9 times, one less than LeBron. Then he's got one more title than LeBron. Just keep that in mind. All right? Make sure you smash that subscribe button, smash the like button, and let's have a conversation. All right? Until the next video. Hope all is well. See you.